So what my plan is to introduce you firstly to the geography paper, show you how it looks, show you the parts of it, and then we'll take it topic by topic each week. We try our best to get through as much of the topics as possible. So I'm going to take you to a website that I totally enjoy and I invite students to be a part of it. It's free for Bahamian students, for all students, and it's called Student Shared. On this website, and I'll share my screen with you shortly. I'm battling a little bit of a flu, so if I sound a little nasally, I apologize. But nonetheless, we shall prevail. Yes, right here. So this is the website. I normally go to free tools and they give you past BGCSE papers for almost all of the subject areas. If you can see, they have pretty much all of them. I'm just going to go straight into geography so that we can get an idea of how the geography papers look. I'm going to click on 2018. And here, this is how a typical geography paper is set up. There are four papers. Actually, there are five papers. But the way that you will take it is according to how your teacher has signed you up. So if you're a core candidate, if your teacher signed you up for core, the core paper, you will take paper 1 and paper 2. If your teacher signed you up for the extended paper, you'll take paper 1 and paper 3. And if your teacher signed you up for, no, if you did not do your geography coursework and you're out of school, you take paper 1, 3, and 5. But in most cases, students in the school system, they take either paper 1 and paper 2 or paper 1 and paper 3, depending on how your teacher signed you up. So if you don't know which paper you're signed up for as yet, I highly recommend that you check in with your geo teacher and ask, hey, which paper am I signed up for? Am I doing core or am I doing extended? If you're doing the core paper, you go, the highest you can get if you do the core is a C. And if you take the extended paper, you can get as high as an A. Okay, so that's how it works. So this is a typical paper 1, and every paper in geography has a map section attached. So you have to answer all the questions. There are 4 suggested questions. You can circle. Let me just take my time a little, exit some of these things out. All right. Okay. Answer all questions. This paper accounts for 33% of your total mark. There are 36 questions in this booklet. 4 suggested questions are given, A, B, C, and D, and you have to answer all of the sections. So in the paper 1, everybody takes the paper 1, and you have to answer all the questions in this paper. So I'll take you through some of it. Excuse me. So you normally have about 50 multiple choice question, I'd say. Oh, did I say how long is the paper? The paper is going to be an hour and 15 minutes, paper 1. So you got to work fast. It's an hour and 15 minutes. I did not mention that. It's an hour and 15 minutes. So you go through topics from grade 10 to 12. So you have topics on faults and folds, mountain building, weathering and erosion, and they kind of go in somewhat of an order. So Earth's rotation, the river course, parts of a river, coastal erosion features. This is location, of course, calculating time. My kids hate calculating time, and I hate teaching calculating time, but calculating time. Location, this is another location question, earthquakes. They have a question here on, excuse me. Weather, weather. You have weather symbols as well on this exam. You have to identify the symbols used for each. And I'm teaching this currently in my grade 11 class. And it's amazing that you have to actually learn all of the symbols associated with weather because you don't know which one they'll give you on the exam. So it's really important when you study weather. And we'll get into that too when we get into going over the actual paper, the content for the paper. And so another calculation question. This one is about settlement and population density. Then this one is on agriculture, farming, government. This is export, trade, industries. Um, this one looks like another plantation question, agriculture. And then, of course, there's the map work section. So when you do mapping skills in geography, like I said, on all the papers that you take, paper one and paper two, paper one and paper three, there is a map. And so the map, I wish I had one with me. I'll probably show it to you in another class. It's a huge map. It's going to take up your whole page, or your whole desk. It's going to be a very big map. I'm sure your geography teacher has shown you one already. And you'll have to do six-figure grid referencing, four-figure grid referencing, know your bearings. You also have to be able to identify spot height on a map, be able to find location, of course, settlements on the map. And then, of course, you have to interpret certain features of a map. So if the map symbols, this question says, according to the map evidence, what are three functions of Arthur's Town? So if a question like that is given, they want you to analyze the map. You need to identify where Arthur's Town is, look to see what type of buildings are there, if there's schools, if there are houses, if there's farms, if there's an ocean, if there's a lake. And if there are certain features on that map, then it'll be able to tell you what that settlement's purpose is. So if there's a settlement that has a house or just rows and rows of houses, you know that that's a residential area. If you see government offices and churches and schools, you know that that's probably a public center or a CDC, Central Business District. And so that is going to be the function of that area, and be familiar with the words. Don't be afraid to use those big words that you learned when you were being taught the subject. It's really important to impress the examiner by using your words, okay? Using the words that you were taught, the geological vocabulary that you've learned throughout the term, okay? And then, of course, as I mentioned, grid referencing, grid squares, and this is another examining question. And then they will give you, I think in paper one, they only give you one kind of, this one has two A's. Let me just see. Oh, this has two. This has three. So this is a big paper they had this year. So they normally would give maybe one short answer section or structured question is what we call them in geography, where you have to analyze a source and then kind of answer the questions that come along with it. And as I mentioned in this paper one, you have to answer all the questions. But let's just quickly look at a paper two and a paper three. The paper two and paper three are identical in the content that is delivered. So let me tell you what I mean when I say exactly the same. Oh, this is going to be 2.5 hours. Paper two is 2.5 hours. It's a long paper. That means they don't want you, and look with the young people that say they want you slap up on this paper. They want you to write. This is a writing paper. Try your best to answer every single question. I encourage my students to, if you don't know something, just start writing. Just if it says something to do it. Line is beautiful. It's in the Bahamas. The Bahamas is beautiful. Just start writing. Don't ever leave a question blank. That is my strong opinion. That is my good advice. Always write on the paper. Sometimes you might buck a lazy examiner and he just see you write a lot of things on the paper. He said, my person got an A. And you might have foolishness. Some things is happening. Life is happening. Life is be lifing. you know? So I always encourage students to write on each and every line, okay? So in these instructions, it says candidates should be issued at the start of the examination with the paper for which they have been entered, either paper 2 or paper 3. Don't ever let them give you two papers. Either you get a paper 2 if you're doing core, or you get a paper 3, because the papers are very similar. The amount of questions is just a bit different. Okay, like it says, paper 2 is targeted to those candidates who want to achieve the C to G range, and the paper 3 is for those persons that want to achieve the A. Okay, and so this is 44% of your grade. There are 8 questions in it, and you only asked to answer 4. Only answer 4. If you take it upon yourself to answer all 8 of the questions, the examiner's not going to go through and say, "Oh, she did this one better," or "they did this one better." They're only going to let you get the points for the first 4 questions. So please read through the paper, take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, read through every section. And my recommendation, this is just a pro tip, look for the questions that have the most points. And if you could answer that question that's worth maybe 10 points, and you could answer that one really good, choose that question. Don't choose the question where the first question was worth 1 point. Oh, I know the answer. But then when you reach the 10-point question, you're, oh, I don't know that one. So read through each of the questions. Make sure that you are capable of answering the bigger amount, the questions that have the bigger point allowances, and answer that question first. Or make sure that you can answer that question so that you can kind of maximize the amount of points that you get in that section. Pro tip there. And so this is the paper 1. Like I said, all of them have a map work section attached, and same skills, learning trigonometrical stations, height on the map, distance, direction. Um, when you was in grade 9 and you had to calculate distance on a map using the little straight edge of the paper, all those good stuff, 4-figure grid referencing, 6-figure grid referencing, all those you have to do again on this paper as well. So that's the map work section. And then you have to either answer one of, oh, let me just make sure I make that clear. So in this paper 2, the map work section is optional. So there are 8 questions in here, and the map work section is one of the 8 questions. So you can choose that map question to answer, or if you don't feel comfortable answering the map work question, you don't have to. Okay? But there are 8 questions in total to do. You just make sure, yes. Yes. So you don't have to answer the map work section in this one. You can choose not to do it. Read through the map work question first and make sure you're comfortable. If you're comfortable, do it. If you're not, don't do it. Okay, so that's the map work question. That's one question. And then they have, this one was on rocks, the rock cycle, and rock cycle, yeah. And so the total points for this is 20. Let me show you this exact same question. This is question 2. Let me show you how it looks in the paper 3. So in a paper 3, so this is the paper 3. Notice they give you the same question. It's still going to be on rocks, but this one is going to be a more challenging question. The level of points to the question is more, and the point values are more. So this question is worth 25 points, versus in the paper 2, the same question was worth 20 points. So that's kind of the difference between the paper 3 and the paper 2 and the paper 3. They ask the exact same questions, or they ask about the exact same topics, but the point values and how developed the questions or how challenging the questions are is more intense in the paper 3. Okay? So I think I've covered that pretty well. I think I can pat myself on the back for that. I think you have a great idea of how the exam is going to look. I'm sure you're going to be confident in identifying your paper. And let's get into some content today. So, what I like to use to share my content with students is Canva. And I'm going to take you to that app right now. Geography, geography, yes. Geography grade 11 and geography grade 10. Let's start with geography grade 10 and then we'll work our way up to geography grade 11 and 12. So, what are some of the topics that you would need to know for geography grade 10? And maybe, since it's only four of us in here, would you be interested in writing this? No, wait. Would you guys be interested in writing it? You don't want to write anything. I'm sure you don't want to come to after school classes to write. But it is awesome to take notes of some of the topics that you would have to cover within that course. So I'm going to take you to grade 10 Geo, and this is the basic graph. So let me just share with you some of the topics that you will have to know. So what is geography? Some themes in geography, careers in geography. And then you have the solar system and Earth rotation and revolution. Then the structure of the Earth, knowing the different layers of the Earth, the inner structure, the core. Let me ask some questions. Let me ask some questions. What is the innermost layer? What is the innermost layer? Is my mic muted? Did something go on for me? The camera went out. What is the innermost layer of the Earth? Any volunteers? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. What is the innermost layer of the Earth?
Can I answer it?
Yes, you can.
Is it the core?
Excellent. It is the core. And as you move out, what is the outermost layer of the Earth?
Would it be the crust?
It's the crust. Very good. And so then you need to know about plate tectonics, knowing about continental drift, evidence that support continental drift, plate margins. Remember those plate margins? We'll do some of that today as well. Of course, mapping skills, knowing GIS and GPS, knowing the difference between them. This is all still grade 10. Then we move on to rocks, types of rocks, faulting and folding, earthquakes, volcanoes, and we end grade 10 with the hydrological cycle, the water cycle, groundwater and surface water. Then for grade 11, we start with weathering and erosion. We talk about limestone weathering. We talk about river erosion, wave erosion, coastal erosion. We talk about features at the coast. We talk about coral reefs. We do weather systems, hurricanes, fronts, and then we do weather symbols. We also have to do the world climatic zones, the Bohemian climates, and then characteristics of weather, major vegetational zones. Then we do soils, Chernozem, podzoils, rendzinas, lattice oils. Then soils that we have here in the Bahamas. We do global warming. We do energy resource, pollution, And that will bring us to term 1 of grade 12. In grade 12, we start with economics. So we start with industries, types of industries, primary, secondary, tertiary level industries. We move on to farming. Farming is a big topic. Fishing, that's not so big. Mining, we also do that. We do the salt industry in the Bahamas. We cover the salt industry extensively. We track the history of it as well. We also do secondary sources, for example, the manufacturing industries, and we also do manufacturing industries on a global scale. Talk a little bit about tertiary level industries, tourism being our number one, banking, and then we also do transport. And then grade 12 ends with CARICOM, those trade unions, CARICOM, population also, and then migration and settlements, urbanization, and then coursework. So those are the major topics that you have for geography. Not too much topics to cover, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of dirt. So let's start with what is geography? I'm just gonna make this one a little bit bigger. So geography is the study of Earth and landscapes, environments, and the relationship between people and their surroundings. We know that we have a physical set of geography, we have human geography, and then we have spatial geography that refers to the mapping stuff. So physical geography is those topics like earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, plate tectonics, climate, weather, and then human geography is the ones on industries, tertiary level industries, government, CARICOM, banking, population, migration, those type of topics. And then spatial geography is the one dealing with mapping skills. Okay? I'm gonna go through that. We don't really count too much on the exam. Let's get into some of the juicier ones. So then we also need to know a little bit about aerial photographs, and it's a really awesome tool in geography. An aerial photograph are reliable tools in geography that you normally see them on your exam, but you don't really call them an aerial photograph. Some people call them diagrams, they call them sketch maps, so on. But these aerial photographs is something that you need to know. There are two types of aerial photographs, two main types, vertical aerial photographs and oblique aerial photographs. Oblique aerial photographs are categorized into high oblique aerial photographs and low oblique aerial photographs. And let's show you a diagram of it in a second. Uh-oh, did I go past it? Did I go past it? Oh, I did. What happened to my notes? What's that about? Let me just get the aerial photograph together for you. I just want you to see it. You don't be thinking that it's something so complicated that you don't know what it is. Use in geography.
You fucking lucky fucking.
Excuse me? Sorry about that, guys. It's not normal. Here we go. Aerial photographs. All right. So like I said, there are three types of aerial photographs. Vertical, low and high, oblique aerial photographs. So this is a low oblique photograph, and it really looks like one of those maps that you see on your, if you are looking at a oh gosh, don't tell me. It's just going right over my head. Oh, road maps. Sorry, road maps. If you're looking for one place and next, you use kind of like these low oblique vertical photographs. Sorry, vertical photographs. The low oblique photographs really helps with farming, agriculture, and things like that. This is the low oblique angle photograph. And then there's the high angle oblique photograph, and here's an image of that one. So those are the three types of aerial photographs. Just to reiterate, we started with what is geography. We talked about the three types of geography. Um, does anybody remember what is geography? Was that definition? Anybody can remember that? What is the definition of geography? Anybody remembers?
The study of how humans interact with their environment.
Love it. Excellent. What are the three types of geography? Branches of geography. Uh-oh. Let me help you out. Right on the screen.
Physical, human, and spatial.
There we go. And then we also talked today a little bit about the aerial photographs. There are how many types of aerial photographs?
Three.
Three types of aerial photographs. Can you name them? I'll help you out.
Vertical aerial, oblique aerial, high oblique aerial, low oblique aerial.
Very, very good. All right. I like it so far. Now we can move on to the structure of the earth. And so, no, we're going to move on to external earth movements. We're going to learn the parts of the solar system and then rotation and revolution. So, I'm sure we all remember that there are 9 planets in the solar system, right?
Yes,
Am I right? There are 9 planets? Is there 9 planets in the solar system? Yes or no? No, there's not 9 planets in the solar
There's
system.
8. Pluto is a dwarf planet.
Very, very good.
In the solar system.
Good job, Jasmine. Pluto was demoted. Pluto got kicked out. It's now called a dwarf planet. It's no longer part of the solar system. So we have my very educated mother just served us noodles. That's how my children just remember it. So Mars, my very Venus, Earth, Mercury, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Mother, just Jupiter, Saturn, us, Uranus, noodles, Neptune. My very educated mother just served us noodles. So there are 8 planets in the solar system. And so these 8 planets in the solar system, out of all those planets, there's only one planet that scientists have all come to the same conclusion: sustain life. And the only planet that they've all come to a consensus that can sustain life at this particular moment is planet Earth. And the conditions on Earth are so good to sustain life because we're able to produce H2O, something that none of the other planets has been able to produce as yet. The fact that we have water and then we have an atmosphere that's stable, all those conditions result in us having plant life and animal life, and we humans can be sustained in a stable environment. So that's Earth. In on planet Earth, let me see how much time we have. Am I out of time? Because sometimes I get excited. I'm not even gonna lie, and I go over. Don't want to do that. Okay, we have 20 more minutes. So, planet Earth has two types of movements. Two types of movements associated with planet Earth. We rotate and we revolve. So rotation is when we spin on our axis, when the Earth spins on its axis around itself. So it's just literally the Earth spinning itself
Excuse me,
round.
Ms. Bullock. Can you make it full screen again, please?
Oh, my apologies.
Thank you.
No problem, my love. So that's rotation. Rotation is the Earth spinning on its axis. And the axis is just that imaginary line at the center of the Earth that's spinning. Because of rotation, we have some things that happen. We have winds that develop on the Earth. They're called trade winds. That's because of rotation. We have tides that come in. That's because of rotation. We have 24-hour days. That's because of rotation. We have day and night. One half of the Earth is nighttime and the other half is daytime. That's because of rotation. Then the other type of movement associated with the Earth is called revolution. Now, revolution is different from rotation because revolution is the spinning of the Earth. It's still spinning on its axis, but it's now moving around that stable or that stationary point, which is the sun. The Earth will then move around that sun orbit. That's your geological word, orbit. It orbits around the sun. So the sun stays in one spot, contrary to what a lot of students believe. The sun is in one spot and the Earth moves around, well, all the planets move around or orbit around the sun in 365.25 long year. Now, every planet has a different amount of time that it takes to get around the sun. The Earth, 365.25. Anybody knows what happens at the fourth year? Fourth year. I think we're in it this year. What happens every 4 years?
It's a leap year.
It's called a leap year. Because of that 0.5 that we have, 365.25, every fourth year, we have an extra day in February 29th, that allows that to compensate for that 365.25. Okay? Good. So let's talk a little bit about those effects or those features that are produced with rotation and revolution. So what is day and night? And this diagram helps to show us how day and night occurs around the Earth. So like I said, this torch will be considered the sun, and the sun stays in that stationary point. And because the sun stays here, the light will constantly shine on one part of the Earth at a time. And because the Earth is spinning, this right here is spinning, we have a 24-hour day, and then we have a 365.25 around the sun. Okay, so day and night occurs because the sun is stationary, Earth spins and orbits around that stationary sun. Yes. That's how we get day and night, and that's how we get a year. I hope I'm saying that. Yes, I'm saying that. I am. I absolutely am. Good. So day and night. That's how day and night happens. There are some important lines of latitude and longitude. And let me introduce you to the concept of latitude and longitude. Latitude are lines that lay down. They're lazy. Latitude lines are lazy. They're always laying down. Longitude lines are very long. They like to stand up. They're long. So latitude lines are the horizontal lines, and longitude ones are the tall lines that run long. So latitude lines run from east to west. Longitude lines run up and down from north to south. There are some important ones that you have to know, especially when you get into mapping skills, but also when you talk about rotation and revolution. So the center, or the line that cuts the earth in half equally, that one is called the equator. Then the longitude line that cuts the earth in half, that's called the that's called the anybody knows? Greenwich meridian. That's called the Greenwich meridian. So equator cuts the earth in half, the lazy latitude line that cuts the earth in half, and the longitude line that cuts the earth in half, that one is called the Greenwich meridian. Okay? Important lines to know. Remember them, keep them in mind. The other ones, of course, is the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, the Arctic Circle, the Antarctic Circle, the North Pole, South Pole. Okay? All right. And then another important latitude line to note too, it's not straight, but it's also a line to note. It's called the International Date Line, and that's a longitude line as well. So those are the two longitude lines that are important, the Greenwich Meridian and the International Date Line. There's only two of them that you need to know. But for the latitude lines, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then North and South Pole. 5 of them in the North and South Pole. Okay? So make note of those two if you're making notes. Screenshot, whatever you do. People fancy, y'all know how to get notes down quickly. All right. So effects of rotation, as I would have mentioned, day and night is an effect of rotation. The Coriolis effect, that's how winds deflect. Like I said, the trade winds and the Arctic winds. There are certain winds that are constantly blowing on Earth's surface, and that's because of the Earth spinning on its axis. It produces those winds that are constantly there. That's how sailors and boats are always able to pick up a trade wind or pick up a this wind or pick up a that wind, and they're able to move around the Earth. And then we have the pendulum effect. That's another one that is a result of rotation. That's how magnets are able to find, the north. It's because of that pendulum effect. And then, like I said, trade winds and prevailing winds and time zones are also a result of rotation. Okay? And those are things that you know. Calculating time. I'm going to skip this for today because I don't want to rush through calculating time. Calculating time takes up a lesson in itself. It takes a little bit of time. So I'll come back to calculating time. I promise you, I'll come back. So then we have the results of revolution. Revolution causes seasons on the Earth's surface. So because of that tilt and that rotation, we have summer, winter, spring, autumn, spring, and fall. And then we have the length of days varying. So you know that we had to change time recently. That's a result of revolution. The days and nights becoming longer or shorter. That's a result of revolution. Going around the sun. Okay, and so explaining seasons. Seasons are determined by the tilt of the earth. And this diagram comes on exams more often than people would like to think. So let's just look at this diagram. Oh, we have 10 minutes left. I think we may have to stop here for today. So we have about 10 minutes left. But let's look at this diagram. There are 4 seasons that the Earth experiences. 4 seasons. Not all of the countries experience this similarly. But generally speaking, there are 4 seasons. We in the Bahamas, we have 2 seasons. People at the temperate zones have 4 seasons. People in the Arctic zones, they have 2 seasons here. And we here in the tropics, we have 2 seasons as well around the equator. But people in that temperate zone, they have the 4 seasons, clearly identified 4 seasons. So, because the earth is tilted and the sun, like we say, the sun stays at this particular spot. When the earth is at this particular location in March, around March 2nd, March 20th to March 21st, we have the springtime. When the earth is at this particular angle, we have in June, around June 20th to the 22nd, we have the summer solstice. When the earth is tilted around September 22nd to the 23rd, we have autumn. And because the earth is tilted at this particular angle, during December 22nd, 21st and 22nd, we have the winter solstice. So December is the winter solstice, June summer solstice. Autumn and spring are equinoxes because they have equal day and night, lengths of the day and lengths of the night is equal. So it's September 22nd for autumn and March 22nd for spring. And this is typically how that diagram looks. And they always like to ask children to label the spring equinox or the autumn equinox or the winter solstice and the summer solstice, or at which solstice is the earth tilted at a 23-degree angle. So be familiar with this particular diagram. Okay? And so we'll stop there for now. Excuse me. We'll stop here for now, and we'll just quickly just glaze over what you would have learned today. So tell me, how many papers does a student sit in a geography class? How much papers do you take? How many papers do you take in a geography class?
2 or 3.
2. Only take 2 papers. Don't take a third paper. If you are signed up for the core paper, you should take paper 1 and paper 2 only. If you sign up for extended, you take paper 1 and paper 3 only. Everybody takes paper 1, but it depends on whether you're taking the core or the extended, whether you take the paper 2 or the paper 3. Answer all questions on paper 1, and for paper 2 and 3, you choose only 4 questions. Do not answer all the questions in paper 2 and paper 3. Do not answer all the questions in paper 2 and paper 3. We talked a bit about what is geography. We know that geography is the relationship between Earth and how man interacts with it. So we talked about a little bit about that. We talked about aerial photographs. We learned that there are 3 aerial photographs: the oblique, low and high oblique, and then the vertical photograph. Vertical photographs are simply the ones that are taken at a vertical angle, like those road maps that you would see when you Google on a map. The angled one, the low oblique angles, is the one that you would see if you're doing some type of agricultural survey and you want to take a picture of your farm or something. They would use those type of angles. And then the low oblique is another one type of photograph taken. And persons all normally use those if you're kind of doing some type of um, architectural work. If you want to get buildings and surveys and things like that, you want to put up a skyscraper, you want to build a store, something, they use those type of maps. Okay, and then we also talked a bit about the solar system. We started with the solar system. We learned that there are 8 or 9 planets in the solar system. 8 or 9.
8.
8 planets in the solar system. Pluto is no longer there. We learned that there are 2 or 3 types of movements of the Earth. 2 or 3.
2.
2.
2 types of movements. Can you identify the 2 movements of the Earth?
Rotation and revolution.
Rotation and revolution. Very good. What are some of the results of rotation? What happens when, or tell me, what happens when the Earth rotates?
Day and night.
Sorry?
You get day and night.
We do get day and night. Anything else?
You get tides.
Tides. Very good.
Winds, 24-hour days.
Lovely, lovely. Very good. Time zones, the Coriolis effect, the pendulum effect, trade winds. Good. Those are some of the things that are a result of rotation. And rotation is when the Earth spins on its
Axis.
axis. Very good. So the Earth spinning on its axis around itself is rotation. The other type of movement is revolution. Revolution is when the Earth spins around the sun. Very good. Does the sun move?
Normal.
No, it does not. So the sun stays in one stationary spot, and the Earth. What's that word that we learned? That good, nice, juicy word that you should use. When the Earth moves around the sun begins with an O.
Orbit.
What's that? Orbit. Very good. So when the sun orbits around when the Earth orbits around the sun, that's when we have a revolution. And some effects of revolution are
Seasons.
seasons and length of days. Very good. Please, as I would have mentioned, learn those important latitude and longitude lines. The one that cuts the Earth in half equally, the latitude line. First of all, what is a latitude line?
Horizontal lines. Across.
Latitude. Sorry to interrupt. Latitude lines are
The horizontal lines that run from east to west.
very good. And some important latitude lines that you need to know. There are 5 of them, including the north, excluding the north and south pole. There are 5 of them. Can you remember the 5?
Equator, Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, Arctic Circle, and Antarctic Circle.
Excelente. Muy gracias, señorita.
Gracias.
Muy bien. Very good. And then there are 2 important longitude lines. What is a longitude line?
A line that cuts the Earth equally in half.
A line that cuts longitude line. Try one more time. A longitude line.
A longitude line is a long line that cuts the Earth in half.
I feel you. But you lukewarm. Like you want hot. Like you lukewarm. You almost there. Longitude lines are long lines. There is one that cuts the Earth in half. That's very true. But these are vertical lines that run up and down. The difference between a latitude line and a longitude line, latitude lines run east and west. Longitude lines run north and south. Include that. So you would have had 1 out of 2. at that point, the questions were 2 points, you will get 1 point.
That's
Because they
right.
are long lines. You're absolutely correct. And there is one that cuts you in half. That's called the Greenwich Meridian. But they run north to south. Okay? Alrighty then. I think you learned quite a bit today. When we come back, we'll move on to what are we moving on to? Oh, calculating time. I might skip that. I ain't even gonna lie. I hate calculating time. I hate it, hate it, hate it. See, I didn't tell you I had notes on aerial photographs. I knew I had it. Anyway. Symbols on a map. So many things that you have to learn. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Have an awesome afternoon. What time is it? Yes, 5:01. Right on time. See you next week, Monday, I think. It's geography, Monday. 1, 3, 4, 5. Bye-bye. Have an awesome afternoon. Bye-bye.